What's going on? So this past Thursday, there was another versus battle that took place. This particular versus battle opened up with Ray J, Bobby Valentino, Sammy, Pleasure P, and Sammy. Now they set this up where it was in teams, where it was Sammy, Pleasure P on one team, Bobby Valentino, and Ray J on the other. Definitely gave it like a little bit of a fresher feel, and you can see a lot of the competitive nature come out with these guys during this set. It was just a little janky the way it happened. Bobby Valentino, he ended up opening up with the first song, did really good. Pleasure P and Sammy, they dropped a lot of hits, and Pleasure P had a lot of bangers that was especially and tailor made for the ladies and for a lot of the the freaky songs. So it was just like he was buzzing every time they put a song on for him. Crowd was just buzzing for this, so he did an excellent job. Sammy came out and performed some of his most recent hits as well as some of his classics, so he did an excellent job. And all these guys sounded great. He sounded great at first, and it was something where he wanted to pick up his son. When he grabbed his son, he was trying to sing this one part of the song, and I don't know if it was I blame it on the audio team. I think a lot of these guys weren't getting proper sound checks, or a lot of these guys were being divas about it and not coming to the venue to do the sound checks. So they got there and just had to deal with what they had. A lot of times you see these guys showing up late. It's taking them forever to come from the back to even get to the stage. They had D-Ray was like sort of hosting and doing the MCing. And so he was sort of trying to stall and waste a little bit of time for everybody to get on stage, mainly for the main event. This guy picks up his son and just cracks. Voice just simply cracks a few times, and it was just rough to watch. It was rough to see, and it started to become a little cringy because he began to try. It looked like he was trying to find his voice, find his note or his key, find the proper octave. It seemed like he was trying to find it while he was on stage with the microphone. And so you heard him kept saying to my baby is born. And he said it probably like 10 times, probably more. But he kept saying it. And everybody was trying to somewhat motion and notion for him to give up the microphone and get out the way. And so Sammy, Bobby V came up there and they were kind of on the side of him like, all right, let it go. Like, it's over with. They kept trying to notion him to get off stage. He kept saying one wish, one wish, one wish. Kept saying that over and over and over and over. And they were trying to just notion him like, let it go. Like, we all literally heard you and we know that you can sing this song, but sometimes you just have an off day. So that had happened. And then what ended up happening is Bobby Valentino, Pleasure P, as well as Sammy were all in like this little huddle harmonizing the one wish part. One wish, one. They was all doing that real loud into the microphone, like on the other side of the stage, while Ray J was front and center with his son. And you can literally see Ray J like, and kind of walked off. Like he was trying his best to swing it back and just save a little bit of face, but it just wasn't happening. And the guys that you were on stage with didn't care anything about you trying to save face. Everybody was real bitey at this event. Everybody was real chippy. Everybody had a chip on their shoulder. Everybody was real sort of agitated. So nobody was really trying to give anybody flowers. Everybody was doing the basic, oh, it's all love, but really it's not. Everybody was doing that, just the bare minimum to qualify as it's all in good competition, but really nobody cared about anything anybody else had to say if it wasn't regarding them. And as cool to have a competitive nature, but we have to realize that this is simply for the culture. But no one gives a crap about the culture. They just want to win tonight. They just want the most oohs and ahs tonight, and it was slouchy. This was a slouchy versus. The entire event was just really slouchy. They had all performed a handful of their songs, and then it came down to like the last song, and for some odd reason Bobby Valentino was doing the last song, and I don't remember what the last song was, but it was something like this heartfelt sounding song. I don't remember it. I don't remember hearing it before, but they were getting ready to end on that note. At that point, Pleasure P comes up, gets the microphone, and was like, heck nah. Like, we not finna do that. Like, we not finna go out like that. You know, he was basically telling everybody like how many hits he got. I got these hits, I got this and that. And so he was like, man, play my and they turned it on and started playing some more of his music. So he went into the crowd and performed Grind on Me, which was a certified burner. That was a classic, and that's a song that you can play now, and every lady gonna hear that song, and they gonna proceed accordingly. It was just a hit, especially for the ladies. And I thought that was a big enough hit, especially during that particular era of music, for these genre and era of guys. I thought that was a great hit to sort of finish that off on. Some people were just going back and forth, man. Like, they were going back and forth. Like, oh, I'm for the perform a song. And so it just got drawn out. And then you kept seeing Pleasure P getting upset and was just like, nah. I think it was the fact that he wanted to end their versus battle. He wanted to end it on one of his songs. And guys kept like getting riled up, getting antsy, getting the microphone, and then going into a whole spill. Fast forward, the main event, Omarion versus Mario. This was rough. It was rough to watch from, at first, one end of the competitors, and then slowly but surely both competitors. What I found to be odd was both competitors' behavior and like just the things that they were doing on stage was puzzling. The first and like the obvious one was Omarion. Omarion kept going for gimmicks. He kept trying to lean more towards dancing, and the dancing was like okay. It wasn't even like, mind-blowing choreography and dance moves and sets. It was okay. It was all right. I feel like his dance moves, he kept trying to go to dancing. He kept trying to go for gimmicks, props. At one point, he had brought his brother out. I don't know if that's his brother or not, but it looked like him. Brought his brother out, and they both began to eat slices of watermelon on stage. And it was odd. I get where they were going with the bit, but it was just it was odd. Especially the fact that I think that counted as one of their turns. I just thought it was just weird how they were doing things. There was a part where Mario was telling Omarion, basically in so many words, like, you gotta step your game up, you gotta come up with something different, because this ain't it. You trying to dance, man, you need to talk to these ladies. And he was killing them with that, because that's what they were there for. The ladies, this was something for the ladies, definitely, because it was R&B male R&B artist. This was for the ladies, you know what I mean? And it just seemed like Omarion was trying to cater to the ladies, but just not in the way that they were at that venue looking for. So Omarion told him, he said, "Oh, I got something new for you. Watch this." And I don't know, it seemed like he was trying to go like the really deep, raunchy, sultry sort of approach sexually, and was trying to get the woos in the eyes from the crowd that way. And that's not gonna do it, because it's about hits. This boy Omarion got on stage and performed this song that nobody knew. Wife didn't know, I didn't know it, and I don't know that many of his songs anyway, but we especially didn't know that. Starts grinding, gets on the floor, and was grinding and humping on the microphone. And I think he quickly realized this ain't it. And he immediately got right back up and finished the rest of the song on top of him already, on top of that already being terrible. His vocals was off. I don't know if they didn't do a proper sound check, if his microphone wasn't synced properly or what, but his sound was off from his start all the way until maybe a little bit after that watermelon bit. His audio was way off. It finally got better maybe like 1 or 2 songs after that watermelon bit. It was so horrible. It was so bad. And Mario was like, "That ain't it." I don't know what that was. "That ain't it." Omarion responds, "Real life performer." Yeah, real life performer. And Mario told him, like, "Man, you sound crazy." Like, and walked off. He walked past them, and then came and gave these ladies vocals and gave them a legit solid song, solid performance, great energy. It was so weird, the energy that Omarion put in that room with that performance. It was cringy. It was so weird. And so Mario came out and was just like, "All right, let me reset this energy in this room." And so that put him at a disadvantage, because you don't want to be that guy that's putting the wrong energy in the room, and somebody else got to come up and straighten it up and make it more of an enjoyable experience and not really a confusing one. Another thing that Omarion was doing, when he kept changing clothes, changing his attire, changing his appearance. At one point he came down and he had like a ponytail. Another point he came down and his hair was just out. Then he came down again and it was in a bun. And so it was really odd, because everybody, it makes you look at him like, man, are you just thinking about like how you look this whole time? And of course how you look is important, but not when you changing your fit. Like every song you changing your fit up, and it was odd. He kept trying to rely on dancing and it just wasn't doing it. He wasn't really singing his songs enough. His vocals already next to Mario's don't really stack up. He's more of a visual guy. He's more of a dancer. But even the dances weren't really all that. He wasn't really performing what he knows how to do well. Mario was. Mario realized, okay, my catalog and maybe the female appeal may not be as much as Omarion has. Because being honest, I feel like the ladies appeal to Omarion more than they do to Mario. But vocally, he was killing him. And so that's what was setting him apart. Now, there was also a part where Omarion brought out like these dance crews, brought out one of the DJs that I forgot his name, but brought out one of the DJs or these hype man, brought these 2 dance crews out, and they did kind of like a "You Got Served," you know, kind of a vibe, and that was cool. I thought that was important because we were honoring guys from sort of that era and that time frame where all that sort of thing, those things were prominent. And of course, a lot of the success that Omarion had, especially in the film industry, was from that. And so it was important for him to showcase that. I thought that was cool. I thought it was different. And I think people forget that this is still a show. This is still a show. This is still a form of entertainment. And so if you want to do that, do that. I think that's different. I think it's fresh. I think it's new. And then I think it's something that only he could have did with that type of setup. I think only he could have did that because, you know, that was something that he benefited from truly. And that was something that he was a part of in a big way. Groups and dance crews and stuff like that. That was something that he was definitely a part of. So seeing him showcase that, I didn't have a problem with that. I feel like he could have performed a little bit more. It seemed like everything he was doing, he was kind of half doing it. He was in and out. A lot of his songs, he was just like doing one or two words, and then holding it towards the crowd. And, you know, looking at it online and on TV, you don't hear that full effect of that audio and the audience and the ambience. And he may be feeling a big energy from that crowd, and everybody in there may be feeling a big energy. But us watching at home, we don't really feel it. So we just like, what are you doing? You're not really performing these songs. And so that was something else that he kept doing. Then he got a little bitey, and as Mario was performing, he kind of laid down on the floor like he was asleep, like Mario was taking too long. Then he was really trying to tell Mario like, oh man, you know, our live is over. The versus battle is done. Like it's over with. And Mario was just like, nah, it ain't over with. Like I'm still fit to perform my song. Like I'm not done. And he did that. And then after Mario had got done performing, he was kind of just talking to everybody and, you know, showing love and giving, you know, his flowers to everybody. And Omarion from the side was like, man, hurry the fuck up, bro. Like, come on. Like, we ready to go. And so that was a little bitey. Like I said, as time went on, Omarion's performances got better. And one thing that I liked that he did was when his song was over, he sat down. He didn't stay up there longer and lingering and trying to draw it out. Once his song was done, he was just like, all right, now your turn. But that was pretty much the gist of his performance. It was just a lot of cringe. And then once he stopped doing the cringe, the performance just wasn't solid enough to really carry him. That's Omarion. Mario did a solid job on all of his songs, on all the songs that he dropped and presented. Now, vocally, he was annihilating Omarion. Performance-wise, he was annihilating Omarion. Energy-wise and connecting with the crowd, he was getting him most of the way. But what Mario started messing up by doing was started playing songs that nobody knew. And I think Omarion played a few that nobody knew as well. And they had to. Eventually, you know, those hit songs, you don't want to just pull all them out right away. So you want to kind of stall and throw in some fillers. Maybe throw in a few new songs that you're working on to give people some awareness. You know, it's versus battle, so there's nothing wrong with a little bit of advertisement for some newer projects. Realized that his vocals was way better than Omarion's, and so he started leaning on that. And in my opinion, he was leaning too much on it because he did it for every single song. After the song ends, he go a cappella and he just do a lot of runs, and they were very impressive and they sounded great, but it was getting tired. He was doing the same runs, and he would do it every single time. After the song end, they'll drop the horns The song will be over, and he'll stay there, and he'll, you know, hit you with some acapella. And like I said, it sounded great. The first 2-3 songs, it was like, oh, okay, cool. But he kept doing it every single song. Mario was up. There was no need to try to relish. There's no need to try to become bitey or anything like that. None of that. Just be up, be humble, be chill, let Omarion embarrass himself, and this is an easy W. Easy W to collect. Don't have to do a lot of work, and it makes you look better if you just kind of chill and lay back. It makes you look bothered when you start hating and you already up. It makes you look like you taking cheap shots. Don't need to do that. Hit them with them vocals, that performance, then the energy in the room, wrap it up. All right, bro, your turn. Let's see what you do. All you gotta do is just make your shots and go and get back in position. Mario started hating. So if you pay attention to the live, every time Omarion did something that was kind of cool, that looked good or may have sounded good, maybe he actually captured some decent energy in the crowd, you would hear Mario come in and hate. And sometimes he would just do it right in the middle of his performance, which I always thought was cheesy. If this person is in the middle of performing their song, especially if it's a song that's dependent on vocals, don't interrupt. And I mean, it wouldn't be like a comment or two like, oh, and this boy weak. It wouldn't be no comment or two. It'll be like a full sentence. Shut up, bro. What are you back here talking about? These guys are on stage performing. They're trying to interact with the crowd because the crowd is going to be the ultimate, decision maker. And who's doing well, who has the most hits, who's being able to translate hits, performance, energy, who's translating it, the crowd is. So when you interrupting on the microphone and you loud while this person is performing, that's cheesy as hell. Shut up. Shut up. Omarion did it a few times as well. Mario performing and he saying stuff. What are you saying? When the song is over and them horns drop and they end the song, then you talk. You can talk as much trash as you want, but wait until after the song is done. If that's the case, then Must can just get on the microphone and just blah, 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 blah the whole time you performing. Mario was up and kept acting like he wasn't. He was performing as if he was losing and was a sore loser about it, when the whole time he was up. So it makes you look silly, make you look wild. Nobody really cared because what Omarion was doing was just that lame where it didn't really affect him. But if Omarion would have gave a solid performance and his audio wouldn't have been off, it would have changed it a little bit. I think people would have noticed how bro was kind of acting salty even though you was up. Nobody really noticed it because of that doggone humping on the microphone, watermelon, you got served bit. It was just weird. There was also a part where Tank came out with Omarion and Tank hit a little run, crowd just went. And it wasn't even that crazy of a run, but it just had that sound to it that ladies are going to respond to. He, voices a little deeper, a little raspier, hit the little run. Girls were responding and interacting. Hello. Mario instantly walked up and was just like, instantly came in and like interrupted what they had going on, talking trash, getting a little bitey, and Tank ended up leaving the stage. He was just like, oh, this ain't my live, this ain't my verses, but this could get ugly. I'll catch y'all. And I was just like, it was the corniest move. He came over there and just hit some little runs and then walked off the stage. I'm just like, bro, what was that? What did you just do? It was It was, to me, it was lame, yo. It was so lame. And no one really spoke on that because of how stupid Omarion looked. Omarion just served this W up. It makes you wonder, like, man, was you paid to bomb this performance? Because it was just like, bro, you hear Ray J, that crack, and just that inability to hear that tone. I really want to blame it on the audio and just the sound system, sound crew. I really want to blame it on that, because that can affect you. It don't matter how talented you are. If you can't hear properly how you sound in your, hearing yourself, if you can't gauge that key, that note, what that you're doing, and you're in this place and it's loud, it's a lot of things going on, you will fumble. It doesn't matter how talented you are. You got to be able to hear. And if you struggling to hear properly, you're going to fumble easily. And I think that's what happened. I think something that he had going on when he first started was right. And then as soon as he picked up his son, I don't know what happened, but it was just off. Completely off. Then it was him trying to get, recover that fumble. So he kept, it sounded like he was trying to find his sound. Till my baby's born, till my baby's born, my baby's born. Like, he kept trying to find it. And as he kept saying it, I'm like, it sounded like he's trying to find his sound. Like, he's trying to find his knee, his key, his note. And it was just a wrap, because you already on stage with like 3-4 other people. And it's just not happening. They weren't trying to hear it. The crowd was probably not trying to hear it. And it fell flat. No air. And so back to Omarion and Mario. Like I said, Mario was up, but he kept acting like he wasn't up. And I get the whole, stay hungry during the competition. I'm trying to come for you and all this. I totally get that. But it's just like the bitey stuff that he was doing, it just seemed low. And it just seemed like something that you didn't have to do because you was already up. It wasn't a close competition. It wasn't like neck and neck. People already had drawn it up as you getting the W. And it just seemed like, bro, you almost fumbled this. Like, you kept doing the most. Then the Amiri jacket. Kept this Amiri jacket on the entire time. Took it off a little bit, put it back on. Kept his jacket on the whole time. And it wasn't like a small jacket. It was like a trench coat kind of deal. And from the way it looked in there, it looked like niggas was in there sweaty, it's hot. You got a bunch of niggas in here. It just seemed like it was just hot. So everybody in the comment section was just like, why bro got this jacket on? This jacket is sweaty and musty as hell. He know it's hot in here. The fact that I think he had a regular t-shirt on. I don't know why he just didn't perform in his t-shirt, but he ended up taking that off, putting the Amiri back on. And I don't know if he was just not wanting to take his whole jacket off and do all that, or he was uncomfortable or what, but bro had the trench coat on the entire time. And I wasn't paying attention to it because we had gotten enough clothes changes from Omarion. Omarion changed his clothes like 5 times. So I didn't really notice it until the comments were saying it. And I'm like, oh yeah, bro do got the same jacket on. And finally took it off in the end. He was talking to the crowd, addressing the ladies. And then they both start making comments to each other on stage about, their appearance. And he was like, oh, I'm doing this. And he was just like, them. He was saying something about his stomach. Omarion said something about his stomach or his gut or donuts or something like that. And it was just weird, man. Everybody was real bitey, hating on each other. They did the little fake hug and, this is an important moment in hip hop, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, nah, bro, like, this was lame. This is how y'all chose to do this, how y'all chose to go about this. This was lame. Like I said, Mario definitely won. It wasn't really much of a question there. What's the word I want to say? The amount of distance that he was winning by was so great. And then it just seemed like he kept doing stuff to close the gap. And it after a while, it really didn't look like much of this, like this landslide. After a while, they both gave like solid, decent performances. After that watermelon bit, Omarion didn't really do many gimmicks after that besides the "you got served" gimmick, which I didn't have a problem with. I wasn't mad at that one. I'll take that over watermelon and dry humping a microphone any day. This was a rough live to get through, and it was rough because a lot of these songs that these guys performed, they had to do their best not to fly through their hits. So Omarion waited to drop "Oh," he waited to drop "Bump Bump Bump," he waited to drop it was a few other classics. Mario waited to drop "I Can Hear Your Heart Crying Out." It was a few other ones, "Braid My Hair," you know, and so they were really trying to save those bigger hits. And so it was just a lot of filler songs that nobody really knew about, you know what I mean? Overall, I didn't care for this live. I didn't care for this versus. It was choppy, it was sloppy, it was bitey, it was a lot of low-key shade and low-key hating. And that's just the competitive nature in this genre. But I've seen it could have been done better. Could have been done a lot better. Listen, that is my thoughts on that particular one. I might start doing these more as these live verses come out and stuff like that, and just kind of giving my thoughts on the whole situation. Listen, that is it for this video, you guys. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will catch you guys soon. Peace.